a Playlyst original.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast,
where we review the pilot episodes of TV shows to answer your question, should I watch this?
My name is BJ.
And my name is Mitu.
And this week, we're watching Pyramid Game on Paramount+, Camden on Hulu, Man in Full on Netflix, and Act Your Age on Netflix.
So stay tuned to the end to find out BJ's favorite British music artists.
Okay. Yeah. Before that, how about you tell us what's happening at a high school in South Korea?
You're talking about Pyramid Game on Paramount+. Based on a webtoon of the same name, we meet new student Suji, played by Bona of WSJN, who is introduced to a ranking system called the Pyramid Game that chooses class outcasts via secret vote. Suji now has to decide whether to accept life as an outcast and try to rise up, or partner with fellow outsider Ja-eun, played by Ryu Da-in, to topple this pyramid, a notoriously stable structure.
Ooh. So what do you think of our lead character, Suji?
Fell in love with her from scene one. Scene one, I thought it was so smart to show her just lightly lying to a teacher about why she was late, because we then understand immediately that she is not one to be trifled with, and she's a little bit more clever than the girls are expecting of her.
Yes, we get to see some of her thoughts, and she's very strategic. She is trying to get a read on all of the students in her class, and we see that she has the potential to play mind games, which will be helpful when you're playing the Pyramid Game.
Yes, it's like very violent Mean Girls is how I would describe this. And similar to how in Mean Girls, we have Katie, who's used to moving around a lot. We have Suji, who's used to a lot of different schools and understanding school structures and really societal structures at these schools pretty quickly. So she's like, I don't want to stand out, don't want to be a popular girl, also don't want to be fully ostracized, just be in the middle. Kind of the way people approach like competition reality shows, where it's like, don't win the first challenge because then you put a target on your back, but don't be the worst at the challenge because then people think you're dead weight. And so she's applying that kind of thinking to this. But even she, with all of her experience going from school to school because her dad is in the military, could not have anticipated how violent this pyramid game became. Like really violent, like a heads up to people watching.
Right. And as smart and prepared as she is, she was still pressured into a situation that she obviously wouldn't want to be in, where she's now in class 5, which is separate from all the other classes at this school. And she finds out when the teachers leave the room, all of these girls decide to play the pyramid game, which basically means you all vote for each other. Whoever gets the most votes is ranked higher. Whoever gets no votes is rank F. And if you're rank F, people can physically abuse you.
Yes. F is for physically abuse. Just kidding. I know that there's going to be some comment that is like, physically does not start with an F. But basically, if you're an F, that means that people can truly curb stomp you, but just lightly enough so they don't leave bruises, which is diabolical that these girls know how to hit each other just hard enough to not leave marks, but to leave an impact to keep bullying the people at the bottom. And so she finds herself in this F position. And we see that it's not just fighting, it's priming her for fights. It's playing a whistle every time they're getting ready to bully her. It's trying to trick her into taking drugs, potentially. We don't even know what was in this pill that this girl was trying to make her take. And then at one point, the thing that made me write diabolical in all caps in my notes is one of her classmates opens her period tracker app and starts cutting up her menstrual products because she's actively on her period, they learn. Like, what an expensive and mean thing to do.
They know no limits. And a warning to our listeners, some of the bullying scenes were really hard to watch.
Yes.
Especially one with gym equipment. That was tough to watch. That wasn't even with Suji. And we see that she wants to fight back. She doesn't like this, but there are too many of them against just her, so she's getting overpowered. She even, light spoiler, is like, I'm just going to record these conversations. That's not going to work. So she can't even get support from the adults around her.
There's nowhere for her to turn. They are not bruising her. They're not cutting her or leaving marks. And thus, none of the teachers or her parent would likely not believe her. And then she can't find even cameras at the school to record what's going on with her. She sees that a camera has been pulled out of a wall in one of the corners where a lot of the bullying happens. And so she is alone in this. And I think that's where they're able to inject some humor, which, walk with me. I thought it was funny the way that she was trying to get Jaun on her side to try to either vote for each other and rise up or topple this thing, whatever it is. Her trying to win her classmate over did inject some lightness into the show, even in such a dark subject.
There were some cute moments with her trying to bond with her because honestly, she doesn't have any other options for friends. Some girls were nice to her in the beginning before this whole pyramid thing started, and that was a trap.
And you see how the pyramid affects relationships because she starts being able to sow some seeds of confusion amongst the girls. And you hear when rankings change in the next period, you know, one girl trying to talk to another and she's like, we're still friends, right? And then that girl is like, actually, no, I'm a B rank now and you're a C rank. So this is done. And it just flipped immediately based on this latest vote. And so it'll be interesting to see how she tries to mess with these people and mess with this game. And I know often on the show, we talk about the fact that at the end of an episode, a pilot episode, we'll sometimes think, okay, where is this going? In a negative way of just like, they have not given us enough information. We don't understand enough of the stakes. On this show, I think this is a great example of setting the stakes. We understand the motivations, but I have no idea where this is going next. And that's actually so fun. So you don't have to be like spoon-fed a plot to enjoy a show or be ready to anticipate more episodes. And I think this is a good example of that, of I have no idea where these gals are going, but I am very curious about it, even though I will be covering my eyes because some of the bullying is too much.
I 100% agree. We never know what these bullies are going to come up with next, so there's suspense. We still don't know why these girls agree to play this pyramid game. And we don't know what Suji is going to do to fight back. But I think you bring up a good point. It's interesting to see what Suji will do. And I believe in her. I think that she will find a way to get back and compete in the pyramid game, and that keeps me interested.
So do you want to keep watching Pyramid Game on Paramount Plus to see Suji exact her revenge?
I do. I would rate this at would watch again casually. The actress also is a great singer, so do check out Cosmic Girls or WJSN. What do you think?
Thank you for saying WJSN just now, because it is corrected by Summary where I think I said WSJN. So shout out to you and your knowledge of K-pop. I also want to watch more episodes. If you are someone who is scared of violence like I am, this is a tough watch, but it is so intriguing and you root for her so hard. You want her to get her get back. And so I want to keep watching for that reason. And I think I'll just have to look away, which is what I did for this pilot episode when things get too scary. And they will. Okay,
let's go to a series that is not scary. And I feel like you were able to watch the whole thing without any trouble. That is Camden on Hulu. Set in London's beating heart of music, Camden reveals the untold stories of how the lives and careers of some of the world's most iconic artists were influenced by this corner of London. In this pilot episode, we explore what happened with Amy Winehouse, Dua Lipa, Coldplay, and Madness. So Mitu, what were your first impressions of Camden the show and Camden the neighborhood?
I thought that this show was a little too varied So I liked learning about Dua Lipa's career. I liked learning about Chris Martin's career, having a bit of a glimpse into Amy Winehouse and learning about Little Sims. But I thought perhaps too many artists in one go in a 40-minute or so pilot. It felt to me like it didn't have as much direction in its storytelling. But with that said, I did enjoy learning about the discoveries of these different artists. It just made me crave, like, what if this whole episode were about Chris Martin and Coldplay? And what if the whole next episode were about Amy Winehouse, for example? And then maybe another episode about newer artists such as Dua Lipa and Little Sims. Though I think Dua Lipa is a little bit further into her career than Little Sims, but just, to have a little bit more focus.
I feel similarly. I thought it was really fun to see and learn how many artists got started in Camden or have performed there. And I think the good part about this show is all of the facts you can learn. Lots of fun facts and tidbits about the culture and the indie vibe of Camden. And I agree that it could have benefited from focused episodes on a particular artist or even a particular venue. We spend some time learning about the Dublin Castle, and it would have been great to have a whole episode about how they got started, what artists they worked with, who got signed there, or things like that.
I totally agree, because ultimately the show is called Camden, and yet I still didn't understand at the end of the episode why this place was so specifically special. Not that there aren't a ton of artists that have gone through there. I think that is so cool and unique. The fact that they named people who went through there, from Prince and Madonna through Chris Martin and Dua Lipa. Like, that's such an interesting mix of people. Jimi Hendrix. But what is it specifically about this place that drew all these people? And I want to hear more than just it's gritty, it's authentic, it's a creative place, or there were just broad statements that some people made. And it would be cool, perhaps through your suggestion of just focusing on one venue, of just exploring what is that magic of Camden. Because I think if you name the show Camden, I want to know what it is. Versus, I feel like a lot of what they said about this place, you could use that to describe a lot of music towns, like a Detroit Motor City or Memphis or Nashville or Atlanta. It just kind of felt like this is a place where people do music. A lot of people have done music here. These are a lot of people that we'll meet today who have done music in Camden and have briefly lived there or did something there or performed at a pub there. But what is it about Camden? Because I was curious. I was like, what an array of people and an array of genres to all cross through this place.
I think that's a good question. I don't think they answered it well. They start hinting at it, but we never get to go in depth enough. And maybe it is as simple as this is London's version of Nashville, version of Detroit, and it's just where people happen to congregate as music started. Or maybe there is some big reveal of why music capital was built in this neighborhood. And I don't feel like they're on track to answer that directly for you. Rather, they will introduce more artists who have memories there.
Yes, it felt like one of those quickly put together documentaries that you'll see on Hulu or on any of these streaming platforms where something happens in the headlines, BJ arrested. And then it's like the documentary the next weekend is like, BJ, what
Why
happened?
is that what came to mind?
Embezzlement is wrong or something like that. Now you're Black China. Embezzle. And so it's just like...
Mitu did it.
It felt like one of those quickly put together documentary shows in reaction to a headline. But to my knowledge, it didn't appear as though they needed to, let's say, urgently get out this story about Camden. So I don't know why it felt kind of hastily put together. But it did make me enjoy revisiting Coldplay's music, Dua Lipa's music. I loved me some future nostalgia, and especially Amy Winehouse. And so for our UK listeners, if you have any other essential British listens, email us at askthepilotpodcast@gmail.com. I am curious.
So with that, are you curious enough to watch more episodes of Camden on Hulu?
I think this is my stop because I don't think that this docuseries is going to give what the title suggests, which is an understanding of the magic of this place. I think it'll just continue to highlight more artists. And I almost just want to read the descriptions and then just look up those artists because it did make me want to like get to know Little Sims music, for example, an artist I hadn't heard of. So that was cool, but I'm not going to sit through, 50-minute episodes to do that. I'm just going to look the artists up that are mentioned. So if this show put out, let's say, a companion playlist, I would listen to that again seriously.
That is a good idea because it was making me think, as we discussed, that they really should have partnered with like UK tourism, or maybe even Camden has their own tourism board, and like make people want to go to Camden versus just telling us facts about Camden. And so that's why I'm at a wood watch while doing laundry. I like hearing some of these fun stories from the artists, but I'm not that drawn into learning more about Camden, the place.
No. All right. Why don't we take things from Camden to Atlanta?
Oh, your stomping ground. Tell us what's happening.
In Man in Full on Netflix, we have another David E. Kelly joint, a show following yet another wealthy white person in distress. This time it is Charlie, played by Jeff Daniels, an Atlanta real estate magnate who has lost big and is using his cunning to get it back in blood and money.
At the top, we just have to say Lucy Liu as Joyce Newman. Amazing.
Perfect.
Okay, and now to the rest of the show.
How did you feel about this soap opera?
It was very over the top, but not in a bad way. In a compelling way where you have big personalities. Charlie Croker, big man and a big personality. Raymond Peepgrass, what a name. Very stressed out, very over the top banker man.
I loved that. I loved that we had these ridiculous names, ridiculous characters. And I think that once you let go of thinking that this is going to be some kind of prestige show and instead understand it for the fun soap that it is, you will enjoy it. And I think they could have taken it to a corny place, a cornier place, where it is not enjoyable. But I feel like we fell just short of that line where it's over the top, ridiculous, but it's not like you're rolling your eyes and just being like, okay. Like, it is fun to watch Charlie foam at the mouth and stress out in a Southern accent sounding like Foghorn Leghorn. Like, that was very funny to me. And we meet other characters where ridiculous things happen. And it is just very soapy and very entertaining. And shout out to Regina King directing this episode. Great work.
And I think another aspect they pull from soap operas, which works well, is we have a lot of different storylines, potential defaulting on a loan, police brutality, someone in jail, someone not liking their job, someone not liking their neighbors.
A child support case,
someone trying to rebuild themselves, their image in Atlanta society.
Running for office.
Oh, yeah, there's a whole mayoral election. And none of these things are too complicated. I like that we have lots of simple plots, A through Z, though. So there's a lot going on, and everybody's related to everybody. And I think that works well.
Yes, you'll have individual characters kind of seamlessly transition between these different storylines. So we have Charlie's attorney, Roger, played by Ami Amin, who was also in The Maze Runner. Shout out to The Maze Runner. I read that for the first time this week.
It's fresh on your mind.
It's fresh on my mind. But we have his attorney, Roger, going between his office as he's trying to figure out what is going on and how do I get back at the bank and all these people for trying to make me pay them money I owe them, to William Jackson Harper, who plays Wes Jordan, someone who's running for office. And it's clear that there's going to be some kind of storyline where as he runs for office, maybe he'll make some promises to help Charlie get his life back together. And then Charlie, it's made clear, knows some dirt that can help Wes's character. And so there's definitely going to be a quid pro quo there. And so I like that, to your point, it's very simple. There's a lot of different storylines, but it is very simple where we just have one character walk from this set over to this set, and we have built that bridge immediately, and we get it.
And as you were mentioning when we were discussing before recording, it's funny. Mm-hmm. We laughed at some different things. You laughed at jokes. I laughed at people being in tough positions, but it's all funny.
You laughed at Roger's wife because he was like, I'm stressed. I can't work this job anymore. And she was like, you make almost $1 million. Do you think we can afford this house if you're not at that job? Go have fun at your job. Like, that was so funny.
I want to be a judge. I will not get paid enough for this mortgage. So you can't quit.
Yeah. One of us will have political capital and one of us will have money, like capital. So do your part.
Yeah.
So I can
help
do
Charlie.
my part.
Help him.
Go get Charlie a muffin, a smoothie, and let's get him back together.
And then you laughed at Charlie's metaphor, I guess, when he was telling Roger how to help resolve this whole situation.
We don't really curse on this podcast, so I won't get into it. But there is a scene where he tells Roger he's no longer general counsel. He's get them back, we'll say, in chief. And that whole diatribe, it went so long that it was funny and then it was not funny. But then he took it so long that it became funny again. So that joke got 2 solid laughs out of me. It was so funny.
So Mitu, you're already laughing. You're loving the storylines. Are you going to keep watching more episodes of Man in Full on Netflix?
Yes, this is a classic Netflix miniseries situation. I think it is made to kind of marathon or watch again seriously. That's exactly what I'm going to do. It's odd because Charlie is clearly not a sympathetic character. We do see him show some care for his assistant, which is a separate storyline. He's very kind to her. So maybe he's one of those characters where he's very bad to a lot of people, but he's very good to like the 3 people he likes. But you still on some weird level are like, I'm intrigued at how he's going to come back from this $1 billion.
I'm also interested. I would put it myself at a would watch while cooking. I think I'll just pop in and out. I do want to see how Charlie is going to navigate all of this mess. I don't think he'll do it well, and that can be entertaining.
And it's an easy watch, so you really can pop in and out of it, and you won't be confused.
For sure, despite there being so many storylines.
All right, so let's take things from one older person in distress to 3 more.
You're talking about Act Your Age on Netflix. Originally on Bounce TV, this sitcom shows that adulting is hard at any age. So when 3 successful ladies in their 50s have a chance to bunk up and tackle life together, they jump at the chance. And hijinks? They will ensue when you bring together Kim Whitley as Bernie, Tisha Campbell as Keisha, and Yvette Nicole Brown as Angela. So Mitu, when I saw this on our schedule for the week, I thought Mitu just added a show that she was already planning to watch.
Yes, every so often the stars align where it's like, you know that meme of that older woman sitting on her porch and she was like, I was going to do that anyway, because that's what I do. That's how I feel sometimes, where it's like, I was going to watch this anyway, so why not have it pull double duty? And then I don't have to watch a 5th show this weekend. Okay,
so did it meet your expectations?
Yes. I didn't expect it to be some like super fancy single camera sitcom. I expected a silly and fun and light multicam sitcom with a laugh track. And these 3 comedians specifically, Kim Whitley, Tisha Campbell, Yvette Nicole Brown, like that is how you cast a show to ensure that I'll sit down and watch it.
And I think what really worked with this cast is they felt like genuine friends.
Yes.
I believe that they had history together. I believe they got along. I believe that they would still have their own little arguments and beefs and secrets, but you feel like this is a loving relationship.
100%. You even get to see their dynamics change, which I think is impressive to do in a 20-minute pilot of, you know, we come in thinking, okay, Keisha's the wild one, Bernadette's the rich one, Angela's the politician's wife, super buttoned up. And we see those dynamics shift of someone else becomes kind of the wild one. Someone else becomes the kind of funny and cutting one. Mm-hmm. And so they're already also showing that this is not some one note set of relationships between these women. This is, to your point, like real relationships with real dynamic shifts. And we see that within this first 20 minutes. And it's not like they packed it in either. It just naturally happened because it felt like an organic relationship.
Yes, and I think they had a nice pace for these 20 minutes. We talked about Man in Full having very straightforward plot line, and Act Your Age have a very simple story. Bernie inviting her friends because she is engaged. She wants them there for the wedding. And like a lot of older sitcoms, we have nice, easy plot, nice spoiler, clean resolution by the end of the episode. And I think that's a welcome change to modern serialized miniseries.
Yes, there are a couple big classic sitcom secrets in this episode that two of the characters have secrets about each other that they tell to a third character. There's very funny hijinks of that third character trying to keep the other two quiet for varying reasons. It's very silly, very classic sitcom. And it is clearly made in a way where if you were watching this on cable or on Bounce, for example, you could catch an episode and laugh and not have to have seen some secret sewed in episode 1 that will then, build the tension. It'll be revealed in episode 5. Like, sometimes people just want to laugh. And so this one is one you can just jump around and laugh. Like, I bet we could put on episode 8 right now and we would still giggle at it, not having any context.
For sure. I think this is opposite of Pyramid Game. Mm-hmm. You want to watch that drama in order.
Yes.
Act Your Age. I think you can just pick an episode and you'll have a good time.
And they did a good setup for more episodes. By the end, which this is in the premise of the show, they decide to be in each other's lives a lot more because they kind of reunite around Bernie's wedding. And then they're like, you know what? We're going to be Golden Girls meets Living Single. And we're about to become a unit for a little bit. I would like to see that progress.
Yes, the pilot does a great job at establishing the whole premise, why they're together, why they're friends, and where we can go in the future.
So with that, do you want to see more episodes of Act Your Age and That Floor Plan on Netflix?
Bernie's amazingly spacious penthouse. It pays to own a building, I guess. I would watch again casually. It was fun. Lighthearted, silly, easy to watch, and quick.
Mm-hmm. This is definitely a either would watch while cooking for me or would watch while working. Ooh, or a rating I love that you introduced is would watch while eating lunch, where it's like I have, maybe 25 minutes between meetings. I don't want to eat in front of my laptop. Let me have a little show. Let me trade one screen for another and enjoy a little show while I eat.
I could see you watching this while traveling as well, like at the airport, terminal, or on the plane.
True. This is a good one where you could download a couple episodes and giggle on the plane. Mm-hmm. Good point. All of those. If you're a comedy girl, I think you'll like this one too. This is one that you can watch, as we've discussed in many contexts.
Okay, so you want to know my favorite British artist? Was that it?
I believe so. I don't remember.
That's what we're going to answer.
But yeah.
I'm going to say like the Spice Girls. They're really cool. Sugar Babes. I think that was another girl group from the UK. I don't know if it counts, but one of my favorite rock bands, All Time Low, their lead singer was born in the UK.
Ooh,
even though he grew up in Baltimore.
Kind of counts.
And I like Coldplay and Dua Lipa. And some Amy Winehouse songs. But I would say, like, I keep up with Dua Lipa and Coldplay releases.
That makes sense.
Well, yes.
I also love Spice Girls. Do you have a favorite Spice Girls song? Do you even remember?
No.
You're not real? Okay.
Wow.
Where can people find more episodes of the Pilot Podcast?
Well, you can find episodes where apparently only one of us is real on our website, thepilotpodcast.com, and you can follow us on all of your favorite podcast platforms.
The best Spice Girls song, in my humble opinion, is Say You'll Be There. Interestingly, co-written by John B. You can also follow the Pilot Podcast on social media at The Pilot Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and X, and you can send thoughts, feelings, show recommendations, your favorite Spice Girl records, or your favorite just British artists to askthepilotpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
Bye.